Yeah, we're watching this yesterday, and there's a intimate scene with him and Lauren Ambrose, and Mike looks up and he goes, "Man, he's got a boy body."
I'm gonna be so judged for that forever. Beards and Flicks, baby.
Okay, guys, we're back with another podcast. My name is Brad Johnson. Welcome to Beards and Flicks. I'm here, as always, with Mike on the mic Davis.
Mikey D, Mike on the mic, Mike Davis, Money Mike, Icy Mike, Cool Breeze. These are all nicknames I've had over the years. Man.
I only knew like two of those.
Yeah. These names have all been given me by other people. I didn't come up with any of these. And a nickname isn't a true nickname unless somebody else gave it to
That's
me.
true. You can't call yourself something.
Yeah, that's the rules of the
unless you're a
streets.
We're also joined by Jeff Warren. Jeff, how are you?
What's up?
You're bouncing back to Oklahoma this morning. We thought we'd grab you real fast and do one more episode.
Yeah.
This is like a 3-part miniseries podcast with this guy.
Minisode.
Yeah, minisode.
Yesterday afternoon, we watched this movie, Can't Hardly Wait. We are going to revisit it and discuss it and talk about why we do or do not like it. Mike, you saw it for the first time last week.
Tuesday, and this is Sunday, so 5 days ago.
So you've seen it twice in 5 days.
Yeah, because we watched it again yesterday, which was fine because it was cool to experience it with you guys.
Yeah.
Because obviously when I watch these for the episodes, it's usually just me.
Yeah. It was fun to watch it with you guys.
Yeah, and so from the intro, like I'm just ear to ear smiling because this movie comes out June of '98.
Right.
I graduated high school in June of '98, so this was like my wheelhouse.
Yep. I was just 1 year behind you.
Yeah.
Jeff, when did you graduate high school?
96.
I wanted to go to a party like this when I was in high school.
I went to parties like this after high school. Never in high school. I wasn't a partier in high school.
I never really was a partier.
Yeah, I was super quiet in high school. Nothing like I am today.
Yeah, I was really involved in church in high school, and we didn't do parties like this. You know, we did, but it wasn't like to this scale.
I still play with G.I. Joes. No, I'm kidding.
He's not kidding. So, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Ethan Embry, 1998. What was going on in 1998?
High school.
What other movies were releasing in 1998?
I knew what you meant. So we had some pretty good ones this year. Truman Show.
Oh, yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Something About Mary.
Big movies.
One of your favorites, Brad. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Lock, Stock, yep, the first of that universe.
One of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh's Out of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez.
Yep.
American History X.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Blade, Ronin, and Waterboy, Enemy of the State.
All great movies.
So pretty big movies that came out that year, for sure.
Yeah. Except for Waterworld.
No, Waterboy.
Oh, Waterboy.
Waterboy.
Yeah.
Waterboy with Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Yeah, the Waterboy.
Yeah.
I thought you said Waterworld. I was like, that was horrible.
No, that one I hate, yeah. I think everybody agrees Waterworld is really bad.
What a horrible movie. So, Jeff, what are your feelings on talking about Can't Hardly Wait?
Well, it's one of those movies to me that is party type movies that coming of age, so to say, movies, and it's like there is a genre of them, and I feel like to me this would be the first one to kick off that genre to me. I could be wrong.
Well, this was pre-American Pie.
Yeah.
This was pre.
That's in that vein.
Yeah,
Superbad.
Yeah, all those
Superbad.
high school party movies,
Yeah,
right?
and they're all comedies. They're all coming of age. They're all,
Right.
adventure of, antics ensue.
I love the energy of this movie.
Yeah.
I love all of the, they really took a lot of time in pre-pro planning all this, planning all the shots, all the whippy camera movements, all that stuff. Even the pacing, the slowdowns, where they're, there's more story being told and more emotion in the scenes.
Right.
I believed all these characters.
Yeah, I went to high school with a lot of these characters.
I think we knew all these
100%.
characters. Yeah, absolutely.
I think everybody was fairly represented in this movie.
I probably was represented
That's
in
the
this movie.
thing I was thinking of too.
Yeah.
Was watching this movie for the first time. I thought pretty much every group that you see in high school or clique that you see in high
Was
school
there.
is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
When we were watching it the other night, I was like, well, where are the goths? Oh, there they are in the background.
Yeah.
Hey, where are the skaters? Oh, there they are.
Yeah, the
where are
nerds,
stoners?
the
Yeah,
jocks.
the jocks. Yeah.
The popular people,
Yeah.
the not so popular people, the klepto,
Yeah.
like that.
By the way, can we cancel the word jock? I prefer the word high school athlete.
Oh, high school
Yeah.
athlete. Why don't you like the word jock?
Because they're not all dumb.
Oh, okay.
You know, and when I think of the
Well-
word jock, I think of you're dumb but you're strong.
Okay.
and you're really good at sports. But a lot of these guys, they're like gods in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they don't make it to professional, athletics, so they have to get their college degree, and they go on to become very successful in whatever avenue they go
Yeah,
after.
typically a jock in a movie like this would be a dumb jock.
Yeah.
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 Well, and I played 11 years of football. My senior year being my last year because I had so many people, and including all of my coaches, going, yeah, 3% of the 1% make it to the NFL,
Right.
where the money is, and you still have to sacrifice through that. So I was just like, I'm good. I'm good. 11 years capping it out. I'm good,
Yeah.
and I will gladly carry the moniker of jock. But I do agree with the stigma that a lot of the jocks are dumb as a bag of rocks, because I was in school with guys senior year that didn't know their left from the right. And
Yeah.
so and that's the only way they got through high school was
Yeah.
being a jock.
And a
So-
part of that whole name jock, it's not 100% their fault. These promising young athletes are put in these classes, and a lot of these teachers just push them through. They just
Yep.
give them a passing grade
Yep.
because they see the promise in their athletic career,
Yep.
which really sets these kids up for failure later on in life.
Absolutely.
So-
I totally agree with that, and I think that's a major flaw in the system. Is just I got pushed through so many things that I showed up to a class and got a B.
That's
and,
crazy.
And all I had to do was get it to show up, and so that was my sleeping class.
I think we all had a sleeping
We all had a
class.
sleeping
Yeah.
class.
All of my classes were sleeping classes.
I would have been I would have been in the nerd group. I was definitely bullied, and I never actually thought about comprising a plan to get back at my bully.
Right.
Like this guy did. But I thought about it.
Well, the plan in this movie the nerds come up with is very extravagant.
Yeah.
Very well thought and planned
Right.
out. I was also bullied my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And like years later, we're talking like a decade after this, I guess it was still something I hadn't fully resolved in myself. And I would think if I saw this guy in the street, I'm hopping the curb to run this guy over.
yeah.
And that was like, a decade ago, so it was kind of fresh, but
Yeah.
since then I've dealt
Man.
with it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of bullies or bullying. My son knows how to point him out. Whenever he was young, we'd watch a movie and he'd go, "Daddy, that's a bully." And I would say, "Yeah." He knew the behavior. He knew the attitude. He knew what they looked like, how they treated others. So not a fan of that. But this elaborate plan to get back at his bully was pretty fun to watch, right?
It actually was. It actually was. It was a great. I'm not big on exposition,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it was one of those that you needed to see how this plan was going to play out.
Yeah.
So it actually was warranted in the film when they go through how the plan's going to work.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see.
It was cool.
And to me, when they were, and this was at the beginning of the movie, when they were planning it out, I kind of had a flashback of when Marty and Doc were planning out there in model scales.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. But
Excuse the crudity of this model.
they didn't use the White House as
Yeah.
the
Yeah, right. Or Kiss Dolls.
Or Kiss Dolls.
So this is the third straight movie we've covered in a row where there's been a model of the city or of the plant in it. So we had Back to the Future, and then we had Beetlejuice, and now I Can't Hardly Wait.
Yep.
Wow.
That's true.
Yeah.
There it is.
Look at me with the knowledge.
Look at coming through.
So Can't Hardly Wait,
Clutch.
directed by Harry Elfont, and Deborah Kaplan,
Kaplan.
who is they are directing, directing partners. They've actually worked on several things since then, but this was really their first big project.
Yeah.
They went on to do Josie and the Pussycats later, which is a film that Jeff celebrates and watches constantly every day. Is that what it is?
No. I'm constantly made fun of by my wife that I own that DVD and
You bought that DVD when we were living together.
Yes,
When it came out.
and so it's got sentimental
2001?
value. Yeah, what was it? I was we were living together.
Yep.
I was working 2 jobs. I was working a night job,
Yeah.
a day job,
Yeah.
and I was giving plasma. So
Yeah, making ends meet.
Yeah, but my plasma money was going. I'd get done with that, and I would go straight to Hastings, and you would be like, "What's the new DVD? You know,
Yeah.
or the Blu-ray?"
Yeah, you always came home with a new DVD.
And,
man, Hastings, rest in peace.
Oh man.
Yeah, for real.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a cornerstone of our lives.
I spent so much time there.
So much time.
Like buying used CDs and buying used DVDs. And
I have
Yeah.
I have a quick funny story. It's a tangent, but I love it. So one night, a friend of mine, we were just riding around town, and we drove through the Hastings parking lot, and we saw these 2 young kids steal a video game, because back then they had the video games facing the outside window,
Right.
you could see from the outside.
Right.
And we saw these 2 kids like steal a video game, put under their shirt and their shorts, and we let them get to the street, and they're riding on their bikes, and we roll up on them in my car, no lights, no badges, nothing, and I said, "Hey, y'all go put that back," and the kid goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Yo, I saw you take that game. Go put that back." And then we watched him and his friend ride back into the store.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was that.
Well, let's go with our reviews of this movie. Jeff, what is your, like, if you were going to write a review about this movie, what would it say?
Well, yeah. Going back to what I was saying earlier, is I think it's a cookie cutter of that the coming of age type comedy. But to me it's the original. It's the start of that, and I think we would not have this, or we wouldn't have the American Pie genre.
Right.
Without this movie, we wouldn't have a lot of those movies.
Project
without
X.
this. Yeah.
There's another one of those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just those house party, high school. I mean, this is right after graduation.
Now, there's been college party movies.
Yeah.
Right? Well, like, with the famous one, John Belushi,
Animal House.
Animal House. Then you have PCU with David Spade and John Favreau, which is like a college party movie.
If you want to count this, you can say Old School.
Yeah,
It's
Old
a it's
School.
a college party
Old
movie.
Right.
school, definitely.
You my boy Blue.
But this would be like one of the first, if not the first, high school graduation party
Yeah.
night. It takes place in is it 24 hours?
It's roughly 24 hours.
yeah, like it all takes place in one night,
Yeah.
right? The movie starts at graduation.
Well, it's graduation day. They graduate
Yep.
that day, parties that night, and then it
Yep.
ends the next morning.
And it does the really cool
The diner
thing.
scene, yeah.
Yeah.
I think is really cool how they introduce all the characters. Where they did the snapshot and they listed all their like stats.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And we've seen that done in other ways in other movies.
Right.
Yeah.
But this was really cool how they added this element.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah. So, Mike, what would be your review of the movie?
Like I said, I loved it because I feel like this movie was made specifically for me, being that I graduated 3 weeks before this movie came out. Going to high school, and I know all these different groups that you see portrayed in this film.
Right.
It made me miss high school because senior year of high school was by far my best year of high school.
Oh, cool.
I had the most fun, which is I think how senior year should be. You have the most fun, least amount of classes, you get out before everybody. I don't have any complaints really with the movie as a whole. I mean, there's bits and pieces where we talked about last night where once it gets to this segment of the film, it kind of drags because it kind of goes in a different direction. But as far as the actual party scenes, I loved all the party scenes. It made me, like you said, it made me wish I went to high school parties.
Yeah. It made me want to be at that party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt represented there. I wanted to be there and see.
And also, in real life, you wouldn't have all those groups at the same party.
Yeah.
You would
That's
have
true.
people that wouldn't be invited.
Oh, yeah.
But there were so many miserable people at this party.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just leave? There's people just there hanging out. We pointed out last night something I didn't catch Tuesday. There's a guy randomly that drops this rope from off camera above, and he's got this harness on.
There's like knots in the
harness.
yeah,
roof.
and he's climbing it.
He's like, where? Like, is he going up to the roof?
But where is he going?
So when we watched it last
Why
night,
is he doing
Yeah.
that?
I paid more attention to just all the background because you catch so many more random things.
Absolutely.
So many things going on.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
many things. It's like a story and a story and a story, and you're just, it's those types of movies that you watch and you know the plot, you know what's going to happen, you know almost the lines.
Yep.
But then you want to look at off where your point of focus is.
Yep.
And you want to look in the corners, what's going on in the background, what's going
Yeah.
on in the foregrounds. I love doing that with movies that I've seen, hundreds of times.
Like Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussy. Okay, Josie and the Pussycats is a callback to the '80s, and I've said before, and I'll say it again. I love the '80s. I love the culture. I love the music. I don't like the hairstyles, but I mean, who does?
Yeah.
Josie and the Pussycats. It reminds me of growing up. Sunday morning cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. And Josie and the Pussycats was one of them. Jem was one of them.
Yeah,
but
and the movie
I
was
did
good.
not see Jem.
Oh, I didn't see Jem
so
either.
it looked like a bad movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But the
yeah.
movie perfectly embodied those memories for you.
Yes.
And that's why you return to it a lot.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, and I've told this story to my wife 500 million times, but she still makes fun of me. But that's why we're married.
I got something I want to ask you guys. What are your memories of graduation day and leading up to graduation?
Yeah, so it's kind of tough for me. I had a really good friend that died right before I graduated.
Wow. Okay.
And so it was kind of somber for me because on my graduation hat, my best friend and I, Seth, put our friend's initials
That's really
in
cool.
tape on our hat, and we,
Right.
we didn't throw our hats. We kept them, and
Yeah.
so that's probably not the best answer for that question.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's
But
a real experience that you had.
Sure, that's what I
think
was
it's cool
going
that you
through.
guys
Yeah.
remembered him and celebrated graduation day with him in the way
Yeah.
that you guys did. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I also did not throw my hat for a very different reason. My mom, she said, "Boy, I paid for that hat. Don't throw that hat up in the air and lose it." But
That sounds like what a mom would say.
especially a black mom.
Yeah.
But can we talk about how cheap those gowns are? The material,
Yeah,
it's not
super thin.
flattering.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a guy that was naked under his.
No, I don't think. At least if we did, I didn't know about it.
Right.
Jeff, what are your memories of?
Well, it was kind of anticlimactic for me. It was just kind of, I was trying to get out to just move on with my life. And then it was, I felt like I said goodbye to a lot of friends and thinking I'll see them again, and that I've never seen before. But I mean, recently in the last probably about 5 years, I've reconnected with some of my really good friends and seeing how their lives are going, and and they're doing great now. But yeah, there's some people I said goodbye to on graduation night, and I still haven't spoke to. I have no idea where they're at.
Now,
And
did
so
you know what you wanted to do with your life after graduation?
That was the thing. I had no clue.
Brad, did you?
I was racing to, uncertainty. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I know I didn't want to be there, and I know I didn't want to be in school.
So you were the
anymore.
Jennifer Love Hewitt of the film because her character was undecided. Remember, she didn't
Yep.
know what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In her little bio or
Yeah.
little stats or
Yeah.
whatever it says undecided.
Did you, Brad,
Future
know?
plans
Did you
undecided. I had an idea. I was actually in as a senior in high school, junior and senior high school. I was the sports trainer, so I was on the field going into like sports
Nice.
medicine. That was kind of my idea, right?
Yeah.
He was the water boy.
I was the water boy.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about my movie earlier. So I wanted to go in that direction.
Okay.
My senior year was very different. We had just went to a accelerated block schedule, so
I hated when that happened.
I was done with school in December, in the middle of my senior
for
year.
you.
Wow.
So I went to work. I was
Right.
working at a coffee shop in the mall, which doesn't exist anymore. But that my first like real job or
Yeah.
whatever, and driving myself to work and making sandwiches and coffee for people, and that's what I did. So and then it wasn't until about a year later that I decided to go into that place that I met Jeff at.
Now I won't bore you guys with my story, but it mimics you guys. I didn't know what I wanted to do
Yeah.
the day of graduation. For me, it was just let me just live in this moment of finishing grade school and reflecting on the totality of the last 12 years. I do have a funny story about the day of graduation. So we had graduation rehearsals that morning, and the actual ceremony that afternoon or early evening. I'm sorry. So we have rehearsal. One of the guys shows up, one of the kids in our class, and he was told at rehearsal he didn't graduate. He was told the day of.
What?
Yeah. And so he had to go home.
How devastating would that be?
And yeah, because at that point you've already got invitations sent out. You got
Yeah.
family coming to see you.
Expectations.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So could you imagine having to go back home and say,
Well,
"Oh,
that's-
by the way, I didn't make the cut."
Why
That's
would they
rough.
wait till that long to
Right.
tell him?
Like how do you not know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
Man.
messed up.
Yeah.
That's
Robert E.
crazy.
Lee dropped the ball on that one. So
Well, I've got a question for you guys. What do you think the title of the movie means?
can hardly wait.
What is it referring to?
I think it means different things for different characters in the film.
Yeah.
So for the lead male character,
Embry.
Ethan Embry, he can't hardly wait to tell this girl he's been waiting 4 years to
Yeah.
be single how he really feels about her.
Yep.
But then you have other characters as well there are some who can't wait to just get out of high school. I think the jocks in this film, they can't wait to get to college,
Right.
where they assume,
They're going to meet women.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all going to be easy and willing to
Yeah.
do whatever they want.
Because they come up with a plan, right? What is their plan?
It's a great plan. So the alpha male jock, Mike Dexter,
Yep.
he breaks up with what basically they call the hottest girl in school. It's not the day of graduation, but it's, I guess, leading up to it. And word spreads like wildfire, like it does in high school. And he's eating dinner with his friends before the party, and they all decide, maybe we should do that too. And then Mike says, that's a great idea, so then we can have the whole summer to hang out and hook up with chicks before we go to college.
Yeah.
And they get
Hook up with every chick in sight.
every chick in sight, yeah. And so they get to the party, and as soon as these three other guys see their girlfriends, they forget about the plan. And so the whole party, Mike's trying to find his friends and say, hey, dude, did you do it yet? Did you break up with her yet?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments in the film, to jump ahead, is one of the guys says, well, no, because so-and-so's dad bought us tickets to Pearl Jam. We're going to do it after that. And Mike says, well, when is the concert?
concert?
He said it's in August. So for the whole
So
summer.
this would be like May or June. Yeah,
Right.
like so 2 months away or
so
something.
summer would be over. You'd be going to college.
Yeah,
by then.
right. Jeez Louise. I think you're right about the Can't Hardly Wait title. I think it's like, I can't hardly wait to graduate. I can't hardly wait to tell her.
Yeah.
I can't hardly wait to have sex. I can't hardly wait to steal the cop car, whatever it is.
A gumball machine.
Yeah, like that kid was hilarious.
Yeah.
Had no speaking lines.
None.
We recognize him because he's been in like a million things.
Yeah.
You were talking about this earlier. You've seen him in a million things, right?
Yeah, he's one of those characters where you've seen him and he's in. I don't want to call him a B character, but
Well, in this movie he was.
yeah, in this movie he was, but he plays almost that same character, but not klepto, but just kind of the same demeanor
Right.
throughout different movies, and he's got small parts
Right.
going through, and so he's one of those characters that you're like, I can't put my finger on it. Go ahead.
Let's just go ahead and talk about the cast, right? Because there's an amazing cast. I really like the way that the casting director found all of these parts and all these roles and fulfilled their cast. So he was in Major Payne. His name is
right.
His name is Chris Owen. So he was in Major Payne in '95.
Oh,
right.
one of my favorite
He was
movies.
in American Pie in '99.
Yep.
He was in October Sky, which one of my
Wow.
favorite
Yeah.
movies. Really,
Chris Cooper
really
and
good.
Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah.
Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal movie.
Yeah.
And then countless other movies, but like he was in the American Pie universe.
Yeah, that's where he got that.
And I think we
start, yeah.
first saw him as a major role in Major Payne.
Yeah.
Which that's so funny.
Oh, so
Yeah.
hilarious.
I showed that to Remy and he loved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
funny.
And again, so like let's just go through the cast. So like Jennifer Love Hewitt. What was happening with her in the 90s?
So I'm more familiar with her film rather than television. I know she comes from Party of Five fame,
Yep.
which kind of kicks off her acting career anyway. But I'm a fan of horror films. We've talked about this many
yeah.
times. And I Know What You Did Last Summer is the first time I've seen her, and then she's in the sequel. And
Well, that was the year before this movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer was 97.
oh,
And then Can't
Okay.
Hardly Wait was 98.
Yeah.
So she was probably filming them at the same time.
they're close together.
Yeah.
Well, see, Can't Hardly Wait only had 26 days of principal
production?
photography, so
Yeah.
really short shooting schedule
Yeah. So when did we first see Charlie Korsmo?
in this movie, and I've never seen him since.
So you never saw Hook?
No,
You've never seen Hook.
no.
You still haven't seen Hook.
That's Dustin Hoffman, right? The 95?
And Robin Williams.
And Robin, yeah,
And
no, I haven't.
Steven Spielberg
Yeah,
directed.
no, I haven't. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we're probably going to talk about that movie.
We should rename this podcast Mike's Unwatchables.
What Mike hasn't
What
seen.
Mike hasn't seen, word.
Charlie Korsmo first jumped on the scene really early on in the 90s with Dick Tracy.
Warren
That's
Beatty.
right.
He was in
And
the
Madonna?
Warren Beatty
Yeah.
vehicle.
I loved that movie. Al Pacino
Tracy.
was the villain in
Yep,
that.
directed by Warren Beatty.
Oh wow. Okay.
Again, that was one of those comic book
Yeah.
from the Golden Age comic book.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
Really cool.
Really good makeup.
Practical effects.
Oh my gosh, really good.
Because Al
practical
Pacino
effects.
had like some really major like makeup on.
Yeah, the makeup there was one of the draws for me, and
Yep.
it kind of echoes to Sin City.
Absolutely. Without the green screen stuff.
Without
Like,
the green
you know.
screen stuff and in color.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
right.
vibrant flat colors, if
Absolutely.
that makes sense.
No, yeah. Because it was a period piece.
Yeah.
And all the cars were really cool. The diner was really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really cool movie.
So yeah, and Sin
movie.
City and Dick Tracy are one of my
Yeah.
just
You rewatch them
guilty.
a lot?
Yeah, it's guilty pleasures. I love those movies.
Charlie Korsmo went on to be in What About Bob, which is one of my favorite Bill Murray movies.
I forgot about that.
1991. He was the little boy who
Yeah.
taught him how to swim and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
What about Bob?
Yeah. And then later in 91, he was in Hook, the Robin Williams Peter Pan vehicle that Steven Spielberg brought to us.
Brad, you need to remedy that.
We need to watch. You need to watch Hook, man.
We'll work it out. Yeah. For sure.
It may be one of those movies that's really big to us because we've seen it so many times.
Yep.
And then he'll watch it for the first time and be like, "You guys like this?"
only because it's so dated now. For me to
It's-
see it now for the first time, it's gonna
but it's
feel different.
kind of timeless. Like
It is.
because it's a fantasy. It's really well done.
That's a cornerstone Disney. Yeah.
So Charlie Korsmo didn't do anything else until '98 when he was in Can't Hardly Wait.
Yep.
And he hasn't done anything since except for a little movie called Chained for Life in 2018, which I've never even heard of. But he was in MIT when he was cast in Can't Hardly Wait. So he's actually an intellectual that didn't continue acting anymore.
Wow. Good for
Yeah.
him.
Wow.
So some more of the cast, Lauren Ambrose, she was in several things, including 6 Feet Under. Jeff and I watched a movie last night called Wanderlust.
My goodness.
With Paul Rudd, a David
My
Wayne vehicle,
goodness.
which he has done Wet Hot American Summer and a whole bunch of other really funny
Yeah.
comedies that are ensemble comedies that are really, really funny.
And
so
who-
listeners, if you haven't seen the movie Wanderlust, we're probably going to talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah, who's not in that
full.
movie?
It's so funny. And also on Netflix is the Wet Hot American Summer movie and series. There's 2. So Lauren Ambrose, really good. Peter Facinelli,
Yeah.
he's the popular guy in this movie.
Yeah. He's Mike Dexter. He's the alpha jock.
What did you call him? What is your nickname for him?
Discount Tom Cruise.
Discount Tom Cruise.
Because there's a pivotal scene towards
Yeah.
the end of the film where he confronts Jennifer Love Hewitt
Yep.
in front of the whole party, and I lean over to Jeff and I'm like, oh, he's totally channeling Tom Cruise in this scene.
Right. He was in Twilight. He was in the show Supergirl. He's in Nurse Jackie. Probably more famous for the
Twilight.
probably most famous for Twilight, but he was in a what was that racing or driving thing?
So he was in a one-off series on Fox back in 2002
Yeah.
called Fastlane. It was basically
Okay.
the LA version of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool. Inflated, bloated budget, $1 million per episode, which is not uncommon now, but
Yeah.
back in 2002,
Yeah.
it was a big deal. So
Yeah.
Fox canned it after one season.
Seth Green.
Boy Body Man.
Yeah, we're watching this yesterday, and there's a intimate scene with him and Lauren Ambrose, and Mike looks up and he goes, "Man, he's got a boy body."
I'm going to be so judged for that forever. Forever.
And we made fun of you.
The rest of the night,
the rest of
We went on for at
Yeah.
least 10 minutes on
it
that
was
one.
the joke that wouldn't die. So.
It was hilarious. Yeah, Seth Green's been in a lot of different things. He's produced and directed Robot Chicken for a long time. He was in one of my favorite '90s movies called Idle Hands. He was in The Italian Job in 2003. Austin Powers.
Yeah.
So a lot,
So
a
his
lot of
character,
things.
if I have one issue I had to pick from this movie, it's him being the character he was in this movie. I hate it. He's so annoying.
So one of the synopsises that I read, synopsis that I read said that he was a wannabe rapper.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that. I don't think he wanted to be
I don't
a rapper.
agree with that either.
But I think he listened to rap.
Obviously.
And
yeah.
he emulated that culture.
Right.
But what did you not like about his character?
Trying to be overly black. I hate white guys that do that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
We had a term for him in high school, and I won't say it.
No,
but-
you can say it, wiggers.
Okay.
100%, yeah.
You say it.
So here's the thing. I come from hip hop culture. I was growing up in the age when hip hop was becoming a popular culture, pop
Yep.
culture.
I share that sentiment so much. Both me and my wife love Big Brother, and we watch it.
Do you mean the idea of the government watching us, or do you talk about the
The
television
CBS show.
Oh, okay.
No, the the show on CBS, Big Brother, we watch it every year. There is this year they have an all-star cast, so it's comeback
Previous contestants?
previous contestants
Okay.
from previous episodes, and some are from this show has been on for 22, 25 seasons.
It's insane.
And so it's a lot. And so they brought back some from like 15 years ago.
Okay.
And there is this guy that is still on there, and I haven't watched it up to this date.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's still on there. They're down to the last 4, and he talks. Every other word is yo. and I was like, dude, you're like mid to late 40s and you still like wear your hat backwards and
It's not a good look.
oh man, I'm like, and he's got 2 kids, and I was like, please stop.
See, it gets to a
Please
point
stop.
where it's like, I look at some of these white guys that are still like that. I'm thinking, bro, you look corny now. Like,
Yeah.
it was corny then, and now you're
It's just
20 years
sad
older,
now.
and it's now, just stop, bro. You got kids who are embarrassed. They don't want to go out with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Those type of people, I just see them as fakes.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
trying to put on a facade of being cool, and that's what they think is cool.
And you're wondering what's really going on. Like, what are you trying to hide or whatever?
And just be real. Just be yourself.
and
Right.
that's the thing that
Yeah.
that kind of becomes something of a discovery in this film.
Absolutely.
It is a facade. We find that out
you
when he
go.
gets locked in the bathroom with
Lauren Ambrose.
Lauren Ambrose's character. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't talk about the cast and not talk about Donald Faison because I love Donald Faison from Scrubs.
Am I the discount Donald Faison? I think I'm the discount.
Well, if you were an actor, yeah, you'd be discount
Yeah.
Donald Faison.
I'm in the film industry, so it counts.
That's true.
A Jace.
I like
Jace.
that.
Yeah.
I like that most of these characters don't have character names.
Dude, yeah, a lot of them don't, especially the like jock number 1 and jock number 2.
Homeboy number 1, homeboy
Yeah.
number 2. Oh gosh, this is hilarious.
We got to talk about Jamie Presley.
Yes, we do.
So in '97, she was in a movie called Poison Ivy, The New Seduction. She was in several movies that have like a name and then a colon and then like another name. She was in a movie called The Journey: Absolution. She was in Silk Stockings.
The USA Network show?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Every intro to that show was like some sensual, cinematic shot of 2 people about to have sex and somebody gets murdered.
Yep.
And then the intro.
Silk
Every episode,
Stockings,
yeah.
She was in a movie in '96 called Mercenary, and her character was preteen American girl. Cool. So Can't Hardly Wait was her first big role. I think she did a good job. She's obviously beautiful, and she got major other big roles since then.
I really loved her in Raising Hope.
I loved her in Joe Dirt.
I loved her in Joe Dirt.
Yeah. She was in Not Another Teen Movie.
My Name is Earl.
She was in Aerosmith music video.
Whoa.
My Name is Earl is what I was talking about.
Okay, there it is.
Jason, what's his name?
Oh gosh,
She was in Fastlane with Peter Facinelli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple episodes.
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee, that's it. So anyways, so there's the cast. Let's talk about favorite scenes. Jeff, there was one that you love that you can't seem to find. It was like a deleted scene that you know this scene happened.
Which, by the way, makes me think, Jeff, this is
I don't know
on
that
his
it did
mind,
happen.
man.
Let's describe to the listeners what you were talking about.
God dang it.
So this is a prime example that I think proves the Mandela effect is real. With Jeff in this scene he's talking about.
Oh.
So do you know what the Mandela effect is?
I don't know. What
Yeah.
that means.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Do I?
Explain this. I love this.
So
but explain
I
it.
recently discovered, because during this quarantine that we were in, like earlier, things are opening now, but everybody found some other way to channel their energy, something else to do.
Right.
So I really dug into like conspiracy theories, YouTube, and got lost in that black hole.
Yeah, this is great.
And so I come across, my whole recommend is like super paranormal and stuff. Now it's creepy, but I had a dream about aliens last night. Yeah, and weird and creeped me out. Anyway, so I come across this video called "What is the Mandela Effect?" And I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can. Jeff, if I'm off, you jump in. But,
Yeah. Explain the origins.
So basically, it's the idea that you have a memory from a long time ago, and what you remember isn't the truth. How you remember
is incorrect.
Is incorrect, but it's a shared experience.
Right.
Masses of people have the same memories, but they remember it incorrectly. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Mandela effect, it refers to Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
And and this was before he died. People were convinced that he died in prison.
Yes.
And had no recollection of him getting out in prison.
Yes.
Getting out of prison.
I heard about this.
And historians are like, "What's wrong with you?" And so they started to research this, and it wasn't a select few. It was a huge group. There's another theory of who was it? Sinbad being in a genie movie.
Yes, I heard about that too.
And it didn't happen.
And it didn't happen. And people have gone
Shazam.
so far, but that wasn't him.
Kazam. And it was
Kazam, sorry,
It was
Kazam.
Shaquille O'Neal.
And it was Shaquille O'Neal.
But it wasn't Sinbad. It was
wasn't
Shaquille O'Neal.
Sinbad.
Yeah.
It's a deep dark hole.
It really is.
Yeah, and you can go
So
down.
I've heard about all this stuff, but
Yeah,
I didn't know
right.
that it had like a name.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like a concentration of an idea.
Yeah.
And so we bring this up and describe this a Mandela effect because I believe that this scene that Jeff says exists is a part of the Mandela
So
effect.
the scene includes Jason Segel.
Right,
And we see him in the movie
right.
eating some watermelons.
So I recall, and I'm convinced it's a deleted scene. I recall him running into the kitchen, holding a watermelon above his head, and saying, "I've been feeding this watermelon our whole senior year 8 bottles of vodka." Everybody rushes to get the watermelon. He drops it, and it shatters on the floor.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so
Like,
specific too.
That would have
And
been a
I've
great
seen
scene.
it. I've seen this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's another one of these
Sure.
party movies that looks the cookie cutter, type movie that is in the same vein.
Could he have maybe done that in Freaks and Geeks, or could he have maybe done that in How I Met Your Mother or something? Did that happen actually? Was it in this movie?
I thought it was in this movie, and so when we saw it last night,
It didn't happen.
it didn't happen. But when we did see him, he was holding the rind of a watermelon and caressing it.
And like licking it.
And licking it,
Yeah.
and all you guys were like, "Oh, that's weird,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Well, where's the scene of him dropping?"
It's such an interesting cameo because
Yeah.
he's not there's no character introduction. We don't know what his name is.
Right.
I don't even think he has a character name, but he's but he's talking to this guy who has dreads and talks like Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
Looks like him.
They even have a conversation about Velma.
Yeah.
He's like, who did get any play as Velma? From
Velma.
And I feel like that kind of was a deleted scene or like an alternate take
Right.
that was included in the final cut.
Right.
But I'm really interested to find out if you do any more research post podcast.
Oh yeah,
and you find out where that's from. We got to know.
Listeners, help me out.
Yeah.
help me out here.
Yeah, for real. Somebody out there has to know, get to the
Yeah,
truth of this thing.
Am I out of my mind?
Yeah.
Is
And
this
if
the
it's not-
Nelson,
Yeah, and
Mandela effect?
if that scene isn't actually in anything, it needs to be because it's a hilarious scene.
Yes. Yeah.
The concept of a guy feeding a watermelon for 4 years, 8 bottles of vodka a day.
Oh, what? No. I think he said the whole senior year,
Okay. Oh, okay. Senior year.
and I think he said 8 bottles of vodka.
So see, the reason I want to believe Jeff now is because yesterday you didn't give me all this detail.
Yeah, there's way more detail today.
Okay,
Because you've
all
been
right.
doing some more.
Yesterday you just said, "Oh well, there's a deleted scene where he feeds this watermelon vodka."
Yeah.
But today
Well,
you gave me numbers.
Yeah, well, and see, and I thought you guys were going to be like, yeah, I remember that, but man, I was on an island there,
Yeah, you were.
and I was
Yeah.
like, am I going crazy?
Let's go through some trivia.
This film originally was rated R, MPAA rated R for underage drinking, underage partying, underage drug use, and then obviously they recut some things and became PG-13. But my question is to you guys: do you guys think the R rating would have helped or hurt the film? Because after this we get movies like Old School, Superbad, Project X, which are all rated R for the same reasons this movie would have been.
See, I think giving a movie a PG-13 rating, that the rating is given after the movie's is filmed.
Yeah.
Right. There's a cut that goes to the MPAA. They
Right.
watch it. I think this being a PG-13 movie actually helped it
Okay.
be seen by younger audiences, be seen by maybe kids that were still in high school.
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably where most of their fan base
That was their
came
demo,
from.
was
Yeah,
that
right.
age group.
Because imagine we were in high school when this movie
Yeah.
came out.
Right.
I didn't see it then. I didn't see it till years later.
Same.
But I probably would have wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be allowed to see this movie, even though it was PG-13. But
Do you guys remember the graduation yearbooks and trying to get yours signed? Was that a thing for you guys?
Yeah. Actually, it was for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
it wasn't for me. I didn't care about that.
See, it was for me, so I guess I'm the cutoff because it's you, me, and then Brad.
Yeah.
So your
I remember
generation
signing autographs. Nope.
Nope.
I remember signing yearbooks.
Okay.
For friends, but like it wasn't really that big of a deal.
Do you still have your yearbook?
In a box, dusty, up
Okay.
in the attic somewhere.
I have
yeah.
all 4 of mine.
Yeah,
You have 4 yearbooks? One for every year?
We had one
for
every year.
Yeah,
Look at this guy.
yeah.
You-
didn't
same
have one for
him
every
with
year?
him?
No, we were only offered one. No, that's not true. I think I paid for sophomore year before I transferred because I wanted that one.
Yeah.
Because I guess somehow I knew we were going to move, and didn't have anybody sign it. I think I did more of the signings in middle school, and then I think actually high school yearbooks. Neither of mine are signed, but I can go right to them. They're in my old bedroom in my
Yeah.
parents' house.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Listen to this. Melissa Joan Hart was filming Sabrina the Teenage Witch at the same time of this movie. So she had to take this small part of yearbook girl. That was her role, yearbook girl,
Yearbook.
right?
All right.
She took B12 vitamins to stay energized during the all-night shoots and admits that Jennifer Love Hewitt was skeptical when she offered them to her because she was convinced they were drugs.
You know what? I don't know why, but something about Jennifer Love Hewitt does make me think she's like a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
those-
too nice and innocent.
Those are the roles that she was in.
Yeah.
So a lot of actors take roles that are close to their personality or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
So in 2019, so this last year, Jennifer Love Hewitt made an announcement that she's developing a sequel for the film that she wants to direct with the original cast.
Wow.
Don't know how that's going to go over.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those, it needs to be one and done type.
Yeah.
I would like to see a
Look
sequel.
at Brad. Brad is all about it, man.
Man,
I knew it. I knew it.
I love revisiting
Yeah.
universes and seeing characters later on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fun to me. That's why I love to talk about that thing where we take a character out of a movie and
Yeah.
put them somewhere else because I love to explore what else could be done with those personalities,
Yeah.
So the only way I think this could even work is it has to be like a 20-year reunion.
Yeah.
So they're obviously
awesome.
if they were 18 in high
Yeah.
school graduating, now they're 38.
Now, I think because since this movie came out, there are American Pies and there are old
Right.
schools, it would be another like raunchy
Yeah.
type
It would have to be this time. Yeah.
type movie.
Do you think
Yeah.
you'd get lost in the shuffle of?
It probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would do well.
Yeah.
Because most of this cast, aside from a select few, aren't really active
Yeah.
in Hollywood anymore.
Just a few of them are, yeah. Yep. So at one point, there's a distant shot showing someone doing flips in the party's yard.
I pointed that out last night.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Ethan Embry, the main
What?
the male lead. In addition to acting, he was an award-winning gymnast from a very young age.
My goodness.
That's,
So you pointed out to us yesterday when we were watching it,
Yeah.
and I don't remember seeing it when I was a kid,
Right.
Or when I was watching this for the first time.
I didn't know that was
Yeah.
him.
I didn't watch this as a kid. I watched this like years later.
So at one point, Denise says, "Don't look back. You can never look back," which is a direct Don Henley quote from Boys of Summer.
Absolutely, yeah, I love that song.
1984, and which kind of Boys of Summer, the Boys of Summer
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yep,
It's
really,
kind of
really fits.
It kind of really fits. Yeah.
There's a
It's kind
a
of fun-
band
Fun little useless trivia.
There's a band called the Ataris that covers that song.
Yeah.
I like their cover.
That song's been covered by everybody, and
Yeah.
you either screw it up or you do
Or
it
you do,
justice. Yeah.
Another Ethan Embry piece of trivia, which is really interesting to me. Ethan Embry claims to barely remember filming this entire movie.
What drugs was he taking?
He was stoned the
Okay,
whole
well,
time.
there you go. You know what? And I wondered about that because a lot of his delivery
Yep.
of his lines, I'm thinking.
It's kind of stunted, and kind
Yeah,
of slow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the co-writers and co-directors, Deborah Kaplan,
Mm-hmm.
at the time was married to Breckin Meyer, who is the lead singer of, what's the name of the band?
Love Burger.
Loveburger, yeah, yeah.
And there's like umlauts. Is that what they're called?
Umlaut.
Umlauts. Those
Yeah.
are two little dots.
Yep.
Over.
The U, I think.
Is it?
in Burger.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
which I didn't make sense to me at all because
So what do those do? What do umlauts do?
Is it for like
It's a yeah, you're asking me an English question, my worst subject.
Oh,
hey,
I just assumed you would know. I don't know why.
I believe it's a German accent.
that's what I thought too.
So
what would
on the vowels?
What would Love Burger sound like with those umlauts?
I'm not sure.
Love Booger?
Love boogers.
Is that what it does to the U? Love Buger?
But Buger? Yeah, I don't know.
Buger?
Buger. Buger.
No, I think because of the way Germans pronounce words, I think it would be Love Biaga.
Bjerga. Love Bjerga.
There you go. That's it.
Okay.
That's very terrorist of you.
How was he dressed?
Sorry, Jackie.
Oh gosh. how was how was Breckenmeyer dressed in this movie?
So it's referenced off camera. He looks like Lestat, which is one of the versions of vampire.
Yep.
There's another thing that he's
But Donald Faison calls him the white artist formerly known as
That's
Prince.
Prince, yeah. I was like, go Donald, call him out.
That was a good line.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I want to think that was like a improv
Had to
line.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so good.
And the random, but really cool Jerry O'Connell cameo.
Yeah, that was a very interesting cameo and like role for him.
He shows up as this disillusioned freshman out of college.
Like not popular anymore. Was the popular
Yeah.
guy. So yeah.
It's a very sobering moment. He shows up because he
Even though he's drunk.
Yeah. Oh, very good. He sits down next to Mike Dexter, the alpha jock, who's outside on this
Yep.
low-hanging yard bench.
And he's kind of having a moment.
Yeah, because he
Because
realizes
he asked two girls, one of them being Selma Blair.
Yeah.
He asked those two girls, like, hey, I remember you guys thinking that I was the hottest guy in school. And they were like, yeah, well, you called us sluts or whatever. And
Right.
So he's kind of sitting there. They leave, and he's sitting alone.
Because his friends also didn't break up with their girlfriend, so nothing.
Yeah. Nothing's working out for him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of down in the dumps drinking himself to,
Yep.
whatever. And Jerry O'Connell comes and sits down and basically gives him this life lesson of, hey, man, everything you think college is going to be,
Right.
it's not like that. It's like a cautionary tale.
Right.
He's kind of like don't look at me as the example. Because Mike Dexter even says, hey, you were, did he call him a sex icon? He calls him a sex icon. And I remember thinking,
A sexual icon.
and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, a straight man would never call another straight man a sexual icon.
You said that to us yesterday when we
Yeah,
were watching
I
this.
would-
That is kind of a strange statement.
Right.
Right?
But I get what he was trying to say. And Jerry O'Connell goes on to talk about how, once you get to college, it's not what you think it's going to be.
Right.
Girls are super serious. They're all about politics. And
I was watching this movie, and I've always heard his name in this movie as Trent McNeely.
I heard
But
Trip.
his name is Trip McNeely.
Yeah.
Right, I heard Trip.
I heard Trip.
Forever, I've always it's been Trent McNeely.
Mandela
It's just so
effect.
weird. Yeah,
There it
Mandela.
is.
There it
There
is.
it is.
Happened again.
Right there.
What is he wearing?
So yeah, he's wearing a polo that and I love when directors or cast members put in little bitty things, and this actually kind of speaks to his character. He's wearing a fraternity shirt. You can barely see it, but it's the Greek letters Delta Iota Kappa. So it is the letters D-I-K.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Dick. So, talked about the title of this movie earlier, and according to the trivia on IMDb, the title is a reference to the song Can't Hardly Wait by the seminal 80s rock band The Replacements.
Nice.
Jeff, are you familiar with the song? Being an 80s guru?
You familiar with The Replacements?
I am very familiar with the Replacements.
Okay.
I know their work intimately. One of the other ones, while doing research on this, that I immediately picked out was when the two nerds that were camping out on the rooftop of the little pool house. If you read their shirts, they were direct lines from the X-Files.
The X-Files. Yep.
And
My
which
number one
I'm-
favorite show of all time.
Love
by
that
the way.
show.
Oh, love the X-Files. I've watched it through, I think, 3 times.
At least 3 for me also.
And it gets better every time. I'm such a nerd.
Yeah. I think we're all nerds. Like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
three of us.
Yeah. So the
In
funny
some
thing
sort
is,
of fashion.
So in movies like this, the nerds are always portrayed as like the losers.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, nerds are the ones that they grow up to be Fortune 500 billionaires. You look
Yeah.
at Bill Gates.
Yeah.
The
Nerd.
guy who did the Apple phone. What's his
Nerd.
name? Yeah, you're not gonna give me his name? Cool.
Nerd.
He's spinning in his grave because you won't remember his name.
Do you mean Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs, hey. And now nerds are the ones directing these big comic book films that make all this money. So now they're kind of laughing in the face of all the people in high school who said they wouldn't be anything, nothing but losers and nerds.
Yeah.
Now they're the richest guys in the world.
And I mean, if you look, and I've seen interviews with Joss Whedon and J.J. Abrams. If you look at these guys in person, you would be like, man, you got beat up as a kid.
Yeah, they look super nerdy.
They look super nerdy. But then you look at their work, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And they put out some of, groundbreaking stuff
Right.
out there. And that's just amazing that people just eat up now.
But
And
see,
so,
they're nerds who make and create content for nerds.
yeah,
And so we're the guys that eat that stuff up.
yeah.
Brad, what you got?
Well, Ethan Embry, another interesting tidbit about him is that he'd never seen this. He's never seen this movie all the way through, and didn't even read the entire script. He only read the scenes his character was in.
Wow.
Really interesting approach.
Yeah.
I think his character was great in this
Yeah.
movie. And to know the backstory of like how he didn't really care about anything, really. He was stoned the whole time.
He's probably too high to read the whole script.
Yeah.
So he's like, just give me my lines and
Right.
I'll work it out. I have a couple of hypothetical questions for you guys. I love hypotheticals because
Go for it.
it kind of makes you think beyond the film itself, what it is that you see. So in real life, do you think Preston would have committed suicide after Amanda goes off on him at the party? Did you think about it? Just put yourself in his mindset for a second and think this guy has been fawning over this girl for 4 years.
Yeah.
Finally think he has his moment. He thinks the stars are aligned. He hears the Barry Manilow song Mandy on the radio and thinks it's about Amanda. He sees that it's graduation day and she's gonna be at this party.
Right.
He wrote a letter to tell her how he
Right.
really feels. And when he finally gets that moment, she's already had enough because she's been through so much in this party. She goes off at him because she doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
She discovered the letter and loved the letter but didn't know he wrote it. So when he finally says, Amanda, I love you.
I love you.
She goes off on him in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Do you think he would leave and kill himself if this is a real thing?
I mean, it's a pretty major devastation. He'd been building it up for years.
Right. I mean, your world is shattered after that happens to you.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't say that he was going to go to that extreme. I think he would have just been a different trajectory for his life.
Right.
Right. I would say no, because you can see him at the end of the movie moving on,
True.
and you can see
Right.
he's like
Even though he doesn't know what's going to happen, he's still
he's
continuing
moving
with
on.
his plan.
He's got his bags. He's going to the train station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Because he did what he
Yeah.
wanted to do, and it didn't turn out the way he wanted, but he still did it.
well, yeah, and then you look at his reaction when he turns around and sees Jennifer Love Hewitt and just
Can't even talk.
was surprised.
Yeah,
just
probably
like wow,
'cause he was
I moved
stoned.
on and a little paranoid and. But I think it was genuine surprise. So that character was moving on, and that like closed that chapter in his life, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of people who need to be in relationships just to function?
Oh, absolutely.
Like there are definitely people, and I feel like Jennifer Love Hewitt's character in this film kind of embodies that.
She was dating him for the entire her
Her whole
entire high school career.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, because I remember thinking, okay, so she basically gets with Preston at the end of the film,
Right.
even though he's leaving. So she's not even single for, 24 hours?
Yeah, not even a full day.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
right back into another one.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I have a lot of friends that think they need to be in relationships.
Yeah.
And it's not the best timing, not the right person, or whatever it is.
And I think being in a relationship for so long at that age, I think you do become codependent.
Absolutely.
On just the relationship, not necessarily the person,
Right.
but the feeling of being wanted, being needed,
Right.
having somebody on your shoulder, that kind of thing.
Right. And then the importance of being single is important. Like
It
you need
is.
to have your time with yourself or
Right.
by yourself to learn more about yourself.
Jeff, do you know anybody or that kind of goes through that? They feel like they need to be in a relationship to fully function?
Yeah, I've had friends that once they're out of one relationship, right back into another one, and I feel like you need time to find yourself. You need time to find out who you are, what you want, and I think you need to become confident in the person that you are. Whenever you're in a relationship, you can bring that confidence into that relationship. And I think that doing that and being in a relationship while not having the confidence in yourself, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. A lot of codependency that can happen.
Right.
Whenever you're alone, when your partner is away, you don't have that confidence. You feel, you
don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah, like you're like, what do I do with all this free time?
Yeah. And that can welcome depression and all that.
It's very
all that
damaging in the long run, for sure.
So yeah, I think I've had friends like that, and and I've had those hard conversations with those friends, and so I think there are times where people need to just be alone.
I agree. Even as a married couple.
Brought it down. Sorry.
No, that's good that you go there, because even as a married couple, I think you still have to have your time to. You have your girls' night with your girls. I have guys' night with the guys. You can even do couples things together.
Right.
It just to change the dynamic and keep everything fresh in the relationship.
Right.
Brad, what you got, man?
I think I really relate to several different characters in this movie.
Okay.
And I think you're going to agree with me, okay? I think I'm a lot like the reminiscing guy.
You are. you really are him.
That tell the stories and talk about the times and all the good times. And all the
Because you
things.
have the greatest stories.
Well, I just remember those big moments in life, and I love to reminisce and talk about them, right? I feel like I am one of the nerds. I feel like that I would definitely fit into that group.
I think you're one of the nerds, but not to the extreme that they were portrayed.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I agree. But I think I relate to the most is the lead male, is Ethan Embry's character.
Yeah, okay.
Preston, because I keep finding myself completely infatuated with a girl, a woman.
Right.
And I believe I'm in love with her, for a long period of time, and it never works out the way I want it to work out.
Because you kind of envision this relationship and you play it out in your head, and it's never the way it is in real life.
And I want to relate to him in this movie because I want to meet that person and I want to, go on with her.
Well, there's one scene that kind of ties into your relationship to that character, where he's at the pool, and it's a trick. It's a gotcha moment for me because you watch it.
Really well filmed.
You think it's a fourth wall break, and which would have been really random
a Ferris
for this film.
Bueller moment?
Yeah, because he's looking right at the camera, but there's moments where the camera slowly slides to the left and the right, cuts away.
Right.
It's really well done, and he goes on this monologue about.
Well, it's the scene starts off with him spiking the camera, spiking the lens is what it's called, and then the camera does kind of float back and forth. Which is really well. I think it's really well.
Yeah.
It's really lit well.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. We think he's talking to her. We think that's the moment, right? But what happens?
At the end of his monologue, he says, "So what do you think?" And it cuts to what do you call those kids?
Foreign exchange
student.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, real quick. In high school, it's so true. In high school, you always teach the foreign exchange student the bad
All the bad
words,
stuff.
and that's what they do in this film. So
Yeah.
when we get to this point in the film, he finishes his monologue and he says, "What do you think?" And they cut to the Swedish foreign exchange student, and he says, "Do you want?" I can't say it in his dialect.
Would you like
There you go.
to touch my penis? I am a sex machine.
He's like sitting in the hot, like with his legs in the hot tub,
Yeah.
just staring at Preston. And Preston's like going over he's like pouring out
just
all
bared
of
his
his,
soul.
all the best hits, all the greatest hits from his, the note that he wrote to
Yes.
Amanda, and he's like, "What do you think?" And then it cuts to that awesome moment. Yeah.
It's like I say, it's a great gotcha.
I think that's my favorite scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because like you said, it's shot really well. It's acted really well, even for a guy that's high.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's serious. A lot of different elements in just that one little 2 minutes.
Yep.
Now, another moment I want to talk about, and this is kind of where the movie starts to go off the rails for me, is about 45 minutes into the film. Sean leaves the party, and he's at he tries to get to a payphone so we can call Barry Manilow, who's overseas on tour in Tokyo. He wants to ask him about the song Mandy. Is it really about the dog? Because he's starting to believe maybe things aren't fated to be what he thought they were. And in the horizon, she emerges from out of focus, into focus. Jenna Elfman in this angel stripper outfit. And she basically is banging on the phone booth. Hey, I need to use the phone. He finally gets through to Barry Manilow, and she pulls him out. She makes her phone call. Once she enters the film, the movie to me drags because it takes away from the party, and to me, the party's where all the energy is.
Yeah, the pacing completely slows down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even the music behind the scenes
Right.
slows down.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. Like it does change the whole energy. However, I don't think it goes off the rails. I think it's just it's kind of like a musical interlude, right?
Yeah.
Where it's different from the rest of the film completely, but it gets us back to the wrap up.
I like that you call it an interlude, and because last night watching this with you guys again, I saw it from a different set of lenses because I said there's music playing in basically every scene in this film, a different song. It's like a feature for these up and coming acts as well as the actors in the film, and for you to call that scene like an interlude. Remember, some albums do have the interludes
Yeah.
where it's like dialogue or it's just like BTS of
Like an
characters talking
instrumental
to each other.
track or
Right.
something, yeah.
And it's like to give a little moment of brevity for the album moving
That's
forward.
what it is.
Yeah, and I really feel that it does drag. I think the scene was too long, but I think the
Same.
scene needs to be there.
I agree.
Because there's some character development that happens between the main character there, and he realizes what he's been doing, pursuing this girl for the last 4 years, waiting for the last 4 years for her to be single.
Right.
He's got this letter, and he realizes, I think that's the beginning of the journey of him getting to the train station.
Okay.
And I think he's like, okay.
Kind of solidifies his plan.
It's kind of like, okay, there's a lot of life out there to live.
Well, then she's talking about
yeah.
the fate story, you
Yeah.
know, like how fate is important, how she wanted to go meet Scott Baio.
Yeah,
And,
Exactly.
know, she like missed her moment.
right.
And she's basically inspiring him through her story to not miss his moment.
It's kind of like
to take his
like a
shot.
low level Carpe Diem moment
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
him that, like you said, definitely needs to be in the film.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think
But
they
could have been
It's too-
condensed.
it's too long.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's too
but
long.
it took
Yeah.
an older character in the film, which is Jenna Elfman's character,
Yeah.
to give him that foresight.
Because she missed her shot, and she's like later in life now, and
Right.
yeah, he learns. However, that scene starts with a big crane shot, and we see, like it's like
It's like
guy-
a used parking lot in the background.
used car parking
Right,
lot, and there's
right.
like somebody. It's like definitely 2 a.m.
Yes.
and there's somebody walking in the parking lot back in the little top left hand corner of
Right.
the screen or the frame. It's so weird. We saw that. We were all like, "What's happening? Is that an extra that didn't get told that this is a crane shot? Or whatever." So this is another piece of interesting Barry Manilow trivia because this movie just encompasses Barry Manilow the whole time. This film takes place on Wednesday, June 17th, 1998, Barry Manilow's 55th birthday.
Okay, well there it is.
Yeah. Okay, so Can't Hardly Wait. I give it 5 stars.
It's about a 4.
Okay.
It's not like 3.5, 4. It's in the middle, slightly above in the middle for me.
Okay.
I mean, I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
But it's like my wife says, it's a movie that you go to sleep to. And
Sure,
you
yeah.
just
Put it on in the
and
background
you-
while you're doing laundry or something, and yeah.
You can turn on the TV and the TV
Sure.
can watch you, and
Sure.
so just gonna go to sleep too.
First
But it's
first
good.
time viewing it.
Yeah, so for me, I'll bump it up to a solid 4.
Okay.
Because of the 1998 nostalgia. Like I said, this ties into my actual graduation day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, I relate in that way, and it just reminds me of my senior year of high school and how much fun I had my last year of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
Great.
it was a great send off, and it was a great set me off on the journey to what was to come after.
Yep.
So
It's great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Great
Really good soundtrack. Yep.
And so that nostalgia music, that's why it's not a solid 3 for me. But
Yeah.
just the music in there, you can kind of.
Bump it up to another
Yeah.
star. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is Can't Hardly Wait. If you guys want us to talk about a movie that you love or a movie that you haven't seen or something, hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Email us at beardsandflicks@podcast@gmail.com.
And
Thank
Jeff, we want to say thank
Yeah,
you
man.
for hanging out with us this entire weekend. We recorded 3 pods with this guy. He's one of our biggest fans. So
Yeah.
for you to be our inaugural guest, I think it was only fitting.
Nice.
Also, thank you for helping us make this the sound better on our
Awesome.
podcast.
Yeah.
The last 3 we did, the previous 3 before Jeff joined us, the sound wasn't horrible, but it could have been improved on, and we appreciate you
Yeah.
helping us improve
Thank
the
you.
sound.
Thank you.
Manfort.
We built a
Man
Man
Ford.
Ford. We're going to build it again, too.
Yeah.
We're doing
So
this again.
Jeff, I know you're heading out of town today, so just be safe on your
Safe
travels,
travels.
man.
Yep, safe travels to you, too.
Yes, stay in touch.
Oh,
All right,
definitely.
guys. Thanks for joining us.
All right.